Hi, I'm Stuart Wicker, the head coach here at the Marconi Tennis Academy in Bolsey Park, New South Wales. And today we've got Gabriel. We're going to be looking at how to hit a forehand ground stroke. So pretty simple. We're going to start off with the basics. Let's get into it. All right, the first thing that we're going to look at is a wide stance. So Gabriel, get your feet outside of your shoulders. Okay, a little bit more. And let's go a little bit lower to the ground. So this gives excellent stability and allows Gabriel to push off in any direction really quickly. So before you hit a ball, you want to be in this stance, and after you hit a ball, you want to get back to this position as quickly as possible. All right, so that's the first thing that you want to do to become a better tennis player. All right, we're going to look at how to hold the racket now. Now this is really important for hitting a topspin forehand ground stroke. We need to have the flexibility in the wrist to be able to drop the racket head under our wrist and brush up on the ball. So Gabriel, stand back in the ready position for me. Okay, so let's have a look at the grip. So this is a semi-western grip, and the best way to find a semi-western grip is to place the racket in this position and put your hand straight down on top, and between your thumb and your index finger, just get the fleshy bit on top to be on the top plane, on the top bevel. All right, so this grip here, you can imagine it's like flipping pancakes. So let's hold, this is called a semi-western grip, and this is going to give Gabriel the best flexibility to drop the racket below the ball and to brush up on the ball. All right, this is going to create topspin. With a continental grip, it's basically going to lock the wrist and it's going to stop his racket from dropping below the wrist. So we don't want a continental grip, which we use for every other shot in tennis, by the way. So just when it comes to a forehand, we want to get the racket around into a semi-western grip, and that's the way we're going to hold the racket. All right, so semi-western grip for a forehand ground stroke. Okay, now that we've got balance and stability, we've got the correct grip, now we're going to look at how to prepare to hit a forehand ground stroke. So Gabriel's right-handed, so a forehand is going to happen on this side for him. So Gabriel, get back in the ready position. Okay, now to prepare to hit a ball over on his right side, we're going to do what's called a unit turn. And the way we do that is we're going to keep our right hand on the racket and our left hand on the racket, and we're going to push the left hand parallel to the net, or parallel to the service line. That's where we are here, right here. And we're going to do this position. So keep your feet there for a moment. So this gets us sideways to the ball. That's the first thing we're going to do. So this is called a unit turn. Now, as the ball is coming in, we prepare the unit turn as the ball is about to bounce. And as the ball bounces, that's when we separate and let go of the racket like this. All right, so get back in the ready position, Gabriel. Okay, so as the ball is coming in, as the ball is about to land on our side, we prepare with the unit turn, and then we separate as it's bouncing to be able to hit the ball. All right, so that's the unit turn. Okay, now that we've got our balance and stability, we've got our grip, and we've got our unit turn, let's look at creating space when hitting the ball. It's really important to create space. So let's have a look what that looks like. So unit turn for me, Gabriel. All right, so as the ball is coming in, we're going to use our left hand now out here to understand where the ball is. So the ball, if the ball was here, we want to keep the ball on the outside of our left hand. So we would shuffle back out of the way to create space, because when we go to hit the ball, we want to be able to swing out to the ball. All right, so this is the correct way to hit it. We've got a lot of room here, and his arm is fully extended at the point of impact. So this is an excellent position to hit the ball. All right, but stand back in the ready position for me, Gabriel. Okay, this is what you would be doing if you're doing it incorrectly. So unit turn for me, Gabriel. Okay, most people won't create the space, and then they'll try to swing in at the ball like this. So we don't want that. We use our left hand to understand the relationship of where the ball is. So the ball is out in front of your left hand. So that's where we want to make contact with the ball. If the ball is further over here, we can do what's called a closed stance and step forward into the ball. All right, so ready position. So if the ball was over here, Gabriel, what would you do? Move out of the way, create the space, and swing out to the ball. All right, well done. So we've covered balance and stability, we've covered the grip, we've covered the unit turn, and we've also covered the creating space when hitting the ball. So now what we're going to be doing is looking at the follow through and how the racket drops as we're coming into swing to be able to get the brushing motion up the back of the ball. So Gabriel, jump in the shoulder unit turn. Okay, get around with your left foot and shuffle back out of the way for me just a little bit. All right, so this is the ball, where the ball is positioned. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the racket up above the wrist. Now, as we come in from the back, we're going to drop the racket head and we're going to swing the butt of the racket towards the ball. And then the racket meets up with the ball and we're going to brush up here and we're going to brush up as we hit through. So we don't want to hit flat. We want to get the racket to brush up to create topspin on the ball. And just as part of the follow through, I'm going to get Gabriel to stop here, because what's really important, following over your shoulder, you do that when you're preparing for the next ball. But just in training or when you're learning for the first time, keeping your balance and control over yourself is the number one thing. To be able to control the ball, you've got to be able to control your balance, control yourself. So Gabriel, racket back for me, and I'm going to get you to swing in, hit the ball, make contact, brush up on the ball, and stop for me. We're going to call this swing 1. And when we do a follow through over your shoulder, we're going to call that swing 2, and then your foot will come around, your right foot will come around, and then that go back to the ready position, and that will prepare you for the next ball that's coming at you. So back in the ready position, back here for me. Okay, unit turn. Okay, step around with your left foot, step forward, hit the ball. Okay, and do swing 1 and stop with the racket out here. This is a really good exercise to practice developing really good balance. Okay, and then as you get really good at this, your back foot can come up like that for your weight transfer. Okay, and then as you get really good, you can follow over your shoulder and then step around and then back to the ready position. So Gabriel, ready position, show us what that looks like with an imaginary ball. Swing 1, and then swing 2. Okay, well done. Let's put it all together in one swing. So follow through over your shoulder and step through. All right, perfect balance. All right, excellent technique. Well done, Gabriel. So far we've covered everything to do with technique, balance, the way you hold the racket, unit turn. So now we're going to have a look at timing. So timing is something that is very difficult to do. So nobody picks a racket up and times the ball straight away. It takes a lot of repetition, it takes a lot of trial and error hitting the ball. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a little exercise that really helps develop your timing a lot quicker. And that is, I'm going to get Gabriel to deliberately miss the ball. You need to pay a lot more attention to miss the ball than you need to be able to hit the ball. So stand in ready position for me, Gabriel. Let's get the unit turn. And as I throw the ball, I want you to deliberately miss the ball, but do the technique, everything that we've learned so far. All right, here we go. All right, excellent. Let's go a little bit quicker. Okay, miss the ball for me. All right, 2 more. So Gabriel's got to really watch the ball to be able to miss it. All right, last one, Gabriel. And then I'll get 4 more, and then now we're going to hit the ball. All right, so now we're going to have a go at hitting the ball. Now, can you just put the racket on the ball for me? All right, something really interesting. No human being can actually see a ball hit the strings. Our brain just guesses where the ball's going to be, and we swing at that guess. The more information your brain has, the better the guess. So something to help you to be able to get more information is a thing called association. So as Gabriel goes to hit these balls, I'm going to get him to count as he hits it. So as he makes contact with the ball, I'm going to get him to say number 1 or 1. So Gabriel, what are you going to do? 1. All right. And then the next ball will be 2, the next ball will be 3. So what that does is as the ball's coming in, the longer you can track, when we get to about here, we kind of lose our visual system does not see the ball anymore. But mostly we lose our visual system loses the ball out here, and that creates a lot of timing issues. But if we can track longer into the racket using association, we're going to have a lot better outcomes. So as the ball hits the strings, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's give it a go. So here we go, Gabriel. Number 1, as you make contact with the ball.
1.
Yep, so let's get back in the ready position. Okay.
2.
Yep, so we're timing the counting. Number 3, go, as we hit.
3.
Yep, so we want to say it right on impact. Last one.
4.
All right, brilliant. Okay, so let's say that counting is a very beginner thing to do. If you're a little bit more advanced and you want to be a little bit more professional, what you can do is use breathing out technique as your association. That's what a lot of professionals do. If you want to take it to the next level again, if you're being explosive and dynamic when you're hitting the ball, if you're being anaerobic, what you can do is you can grunt on the impact. So grunting might draw a little bit more of attention to you. You can maybe reserve that to your tournaments or your competition play. But just in training, you might do a technique called breathing out on impact. So that becomes your association. So Gabriel, put the racket on the ball and give us a as you hit it. All right, so I'm going to feed the 4 balls and you're going to breathe out as you hit the ball. Here we go, you ready? Go. Good, and you're using your breathing out as your association, which forces you to track longer. Track longer, more information, better timing. All right, excellent. Okay, well done. Okay, we've covered a lot in this series on how to hit a forehand. So we're going to put it all together. Now, something that is really important that helps with timing is what's called a split step. So a split step is not just jumping up and down. A split step is jumping up and getting your feet outside of your shoulder width. And this enables you to push off in any direction really quickly. So stand in a position for me, Gabriel, and show us a split step. All right, so when you do a split step, as the ball, this really helps with timing. When to do the split step, as your opponent is making contact with the ball, as that ball is hitting their racket up the other end, you're doing the split step. So Gabriel, I want you to imagine that your opponent's just about to make contact with the ball up the other end. Show us what the split step looks like. All right, so as Gabriel does that split step, as he's in the air, the ball is already back on its way towards him. Probably about 6 or 7 meters already from the opponent's racket back in his direction while he's in the air. So by the time he hits the ground, his brain's already registered, oh, it's coming to my backhand, oh, it's coming to my forehand. And this enables him to start moving out of the way or getting in position so much quicker. So in the ready position for me, Gabriel. Okay, now I want you to imagine that the ball is going to come to your backhand, actually is going to come to your forehand. So I want you to do a split step and start preparing as you're landing for that forehand. Go. Great, so don't move for me. So what's really interesting is that his toes are now facing out to where the forehand is coming. This is really critical because for Gabriel to move in this direction, his knees need to be in that direction, pointing to that direction. You can't, it's very difficult to move out to the side when your knees are facing forward. So your toes need to be facing where you need to go. This is critical. This movement happens in the air while you're doing the split step. So stand back in the ready position for me, Gabriel. So I want you to do a split step and imagine it's the forehand. Go. So if you noticed on the video just then, as he was landing, his foot had already turned in the air to be able to move in this direction. So Gabriel, show me how to come out and hit that forehand. All right, excellent. So let's stand in a ready position and I'll give you a few tennis balls to hit and use your breathing, okay? So show us the split step, go. All right, let's move a little bit quicker, so a little bit faster, go. Great little positioning steps into position, go, and freeze after you hit it for me. Okay, don't move. Okay, excellent. Step around with your right foot and back to ready position. All right, great balance and stability right through. So well done, Gabriel. All right, well done. All right, Gabriel. So we've covered a lot in the series of videos that we've been doing. So let's put it all together and we're gonna have a look at timing. All right, so I want you to control the ball back to me on the very first ball. So you're gonna not overhit the ball. You're gonna try to control the ball the best you can. You're gonna hit the first ball to me very softly, and I'm going to then volley the ball into the open court for you to go back over there and hit the ball and hit it down the line for me. So actually, let's start off just to get a little bit of pacing and timing of your shots. I'm gonna try to catch it, and then I'll throw it, and then I'll get to the point where I'm actually volleying it, which becomes a little bit more random for you, okay? All right, so here we go. So first ball to me. All right, well done. So, and I'll throw it over there now and you can hit it down the line. All right, well done. Did you breathe out on that one? It was a missed hit, wasn't it? Yeah. All right, did you breathe out? No, I didn't breathe out. All right, so try your association. Let's see if that improves. Okay, first ball to me, control the ball. Okay, well done. And then let's go over there, hit that one, breathe out. Now that sounded clean. Yeah. All right, well, So association really works. All right, so first ball to me. Okay, and then over there, hit that ball. Okay, well done. All right, now let's go a little bit more difficult. Okay, so first ball to me, and I'm going to volley it into the open spot. Okay, use your breathing as you hit it. Okay. All right, didn't really create room and space then, so use your left hand to push out of the way. Here we go. So first ball to me. Okay, great job. All right, let's remember the split step straight away. Let's go a little bit faster now. So first ball to me. Okay. Good. All right, one more time. All right. Want a bit more oomph on that. Let's get a little bit of a grunt on it. Let's see if that helps with the shot. Okay, here we go. Give it a grunt. Definitely a lot more power with that grunt. Well done. All right, Gabriel. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at when to step down into the court, which is called a closed stance. So step forward and show me a closed forehand. So stepping down into the court. So that's when, as a right-hander, that's when you're stepping down into the court towards the net with your left foot. Okay, that's called a closed stance. So back in a rev position. Now you do a closed stance when you're generally around the middle of the court. Because let's come out here and do a closed stance for me. Okay. Now step around for me, and after you hit it, okay, now to recover back to the middle is really quick, is a real simple exercise. You just take 1 or 2 steps. So take 1 step back into position for me, okay, and you're already there. Now it becomes a little bit more tricky for recovery when you go out wide. You don't want to be doing a closed stance out wide. You want to do what's called an open stance. So Gabriel, come out and just do an open stance for me here. So an open stance is when you step out with your right foot, not stepping into the court, but you're stepping out to the side, swing through and hit the forehand for me, Gabriel. And now as you do it, as you hit it, let's do a little bit of a shuffle like that for me. Do a little bit of a shuffle as you hit it. Okay, now Gabriel is in a prime position to be able to push back to the middle really quickly. And the very first step is called a crossover step. So Gabriel, let's get your right foot to step across your body and then push off back to the middle. Okay, that is the quickest way to get back to the middle on an out wide forehand or an out wide backhand. So open stance with a crossover step to recover. So Gabriel, let's try that now with the same drill we were doing before. First ball to me, then I'm going to volley it. I'll either volley it close to you here where you'll do a step down, or I'll volley it out wide where you do an open stance. All right, let's give it a go. So out wide, and then recover, crossover. Great job. All right, let's go again. So this is a closed stance, and then recover back, and one more, and I'll make it out wide for you. Give you a heads up. Great job. Okay, well done. And that's when to do a closed stance or an open stance. All right. All right, Gabriel. So we've covered a lot, and we're going to get to the ultimate now. Well, the ultimate is actually to play a match. So we're not going to play a match, but what we're going to do is what's called a rally drill. All right, so I'm going to feed the ball to Gabriel, and we're going to have a rally, and we're going to be keeping the ball under control back and forth to each other. So I will volley the ball out to your forehand, and you'll just consistently hit the ball back to me. All right, don't do your grunting on these ones. We don't want them coming in 100 miles an hour. So let's breathe them out, and as soon as I make a mistake or you make a mistake, I'll feed the next ball and we'll keep going. All right, so here we go. So, all right, next ball, let's go, straight into it. Use your breathing out, go. Okay, one more. Okay, well done. Okay, don't forget your split step as I'm hitting the ball. Last one. All right, well done. Okay, great control, Gabriel, well done. Now, so the next progression, making it a little bit more challenging. So each progression wants to get harder and harder. So we went from dropping the ball up close to rallying the ball from the net, and now we're going to have a mini tennis, just forehand to forehand. So after each time you hit the ball, Gabriel, I want to see you get back into the ready position. Okay, so here we go. So forehand to forehand, using your breathing out each time you hit it. Okay, breathing out, back to ready position, Okay, good control of the ball, Gabriel. Eyes on the ball. As you hit it. Okay, well done. So, really good. How was your split steps? All right, and you're breathing out as you're hitting it?
Yeah.
All right, good control of the ball, Gabriel. Well done. All right. All right, Gabriel, let's progress from the service line now to the baseline, and we'll put it all together. So let's aim for a 10 to 20 ball rally, forehand to forehand. All right, so keep them cross court. Here we go. 1. Okay, one more, Gabriel. All right, well done. Let's do one more. Here we go. Winner takes all. All right. Hey guys, see you later. All right, well done, Gabriel. And that concludes the forehand sessions.